Being president must rank among the most difficult occupations to attain and manage. After completing such a task, it makes sense that you would want to unwind in luxury, which is why today we are looking at the homes that the former presidents currently stay in. Bill Clinton. The 5,500 square foot Neo-Georgian red brick home needed extensive remodeling despite being built in 1951. This structure was constructed to create a space for unwinding and reclining, as well as to increase the amount of natural light. Backyard landscaping gardens are part of the exterior. The previous president has hosted a lot of outdoor gatherings. They have a summer pool, and the pool is backed up by a pool house. Miss Clinton's favorite hue, gentle yellow, is used to paint the living room in the foyer. Italian fruitwood sconces from the early 19th century flank one of the three paintings Hillary Clinton purchased in Hanoi, Vietnam. At the dinner table, Hillary painted their dining room's walls a vivid, brilliant blue and chose a vibrantly colored carpeting that would be readily damaged by a spill in order to make visitors feel more at home. They own a number of priceless works of art, including a painting they purchased in Hanoi, Vietnam, and a teapot that was a gift from Nelson Mandela. A painting by actor Pierce Brosnan hangs in the space. Donald Trump. The Mar-a-Lago Resort and National Historic Site in Palm Beach, Florida, is owned by former American President Donald Trump. Trump bought Mar-a-Lago in 1985, and when he was president, he referred to it as both his winter and southern White Houses. 3 bomb shelters, 12 fireplaces, a dining table with a Pietro Dura marble top that is 29 feet, 8.8 meters long, 33 bathrooms, and 58 bedrooms are all features of the house. Mar-a-Lago was conceived as a National Historic Landmark in 1980. Spanish for see the lake, Mar-a-Lago alludes to the resort's length along Palm Beach, which extends from the Atlantic Ocean to what is now the Intercoastal Waterway. Barack Obama. Barack, Michelle, Sasha, and Malia Obama still live close by despite having long since departed the White House. In the Colorama neighborhood, the former First family has moved into an 8,200 square foot home. The house has a formal garden, courtyard, 2-car garage, and 10 more outside parking spaces. The house has 8.5 bathrooms. In addition to bedrooms, the house has a dining room, a grand staircase, a living room with a fireplace, a sitting room, a den, a dressing room, and a powder room. George W. Bush. Bush Ranch, also known as Prairie Chapel Ranch, is an approximately 1,600-acre expanse of land owned by George W. Bush in Texas's unincorporated McLennan County. It is located 7 miles northwest of Crawford. When George W. Bush was president, he referred to the property, which he purchased in 1999, as the Western White House. Bush spent his holidays at the home where he frequently welcomed visitors from many nations. The name of the ranch was given by Heinrich Eldenbrock, a German immigrant from Oppenheim, who owned the land that is now the Bush Ranch and donated it for the building of the nearby Prairie Chapel School. Bush, who was the governor of Texas at the time, paid the Engelbrecht family an estimated $1.3 million for the land in 1999. Bush demolished 5 sizable hogs that were on the mill road that led into the compound a year before he was elected president, and shortly after realizing a $14.3 million profit from the sale of the Texas Rangers in order to build a new home, a guest house, and a garage. George H.W. Bush. At Walker's Point Estate in Kennebunkport, Maine, on Walker's Point in the northeastern United States, George H.W. Bush and his family spend their summers. The Atlantic Ocean is located nearby. George H.W. Bush lived on the site as his summer home in the White House. The lavish central home has 9 bedrooms, 4 sitting rooms, an office, a den, a library, a dining room, a kitchen, as well as various patios and decks. It was built using New England shingle architecture. Next to the main house are a 4-car garage, a tennis court, a guest house, a boathouse, and a pool. A little sports field and large lawns are located on either side of the house. The house and its contents suffered significant damage from a strong series of storms in late October 1991. Damages were estimated to be between $300,000 and $400,000. The president decided against deducting the storm damage even though he had received undisclosed amount in flood insurance. Ronald Reagan. The Rancho del Celio, a tiny ranch of 688 acres owned by Ronald and Nancy Reagan, is located not far from Santa Barbara. The Reagans purchased the ranch in 1974 at the end of Ronald Reagan's second term as governor of California. It operated as a well-liked vacation residence throughout the duration of the Reagan administration. The house is horribly disorganized and does not have central heating. A relatively modest workforce kept the property in good operating order during President Reagan's visits. During his administration, Reagan had many pets at the ranch in addition to 7 horses. Reagan's final visit to the ranch took place in 1995, the year he received his Alzheimer's disease diagnosis. Before selling it to a conservative group, the Young American Foundation bought a property which is being maintained as a living memorial to Reagan's values, convictions, and lasting achievements. The property is closed to the general public, but accessible to foundation supporters and students. Jimmy Carter. Since 1960, former American President Jimmy Carter and his wife Rosalie have called 209 Woodland Drive in Plains, Georgia, home. Since 1961, the Carter family has resided there. They have never owned a house before. This is it. The Carters built the house in 1960, and in 1974 and 1981, additional renovations were undertaken. The house, which is situated on a 2.4-acre plot of land, cost $10 per square foot to build, or $92 in 2022. The Carters required a bigger house to accommodate their growing family because they had 3 small sons at the time of construction. The Historic American Building Survey describes the home as a small ranch-style home from the 1960s. In a 2018 Washington Post feature on the late Carter's life in Plains, the house was described as aided yet cozy and welcoming. Gerald Ford. The President Gerald R. Ford Jr. Mansion is a historic building located at 514 Crown View Drive in Alexandria, Virginia. From the time it was constructed in 1955 until he was elected President of the United States on August 9, 1974, Gerald Ford resided there. The house is an example of a middle-class residence from the time period in northern Virginia's suburbs of Washington. It was included on the National Register of Historic Places and given the designation of National Historic Landmark in 1985 as a result of its link to the Ford family. It consists of a rectangular, 2-story main block with a garage on the first floor and a 2-story eastern section that formerly housed the master bedroom above. In 1961, the Ford family built a 20 by 40-foot swimming pool and a single-story L that went all the way around the house. The Secret Service converted the garage into a command post when Ford was chosen as the Vice President of the United States in 1973. Richard Nixon. La Casa Pacifica is located in San Clemente, California, a beach town in southern Orange County, in the guard-gated community of Cotton Point Estates, Cypress Shores. A classic coastal mansion in California with a bluff-top vista of the Pacific Ocean. The residence, sometimes known as the Western White House, was used by President Richard Nixon as a residence and place of business while he was away from the White House in Washington, D.C. Immediately after purchasing the estate, Nixon made numerous changes to the old home. Tennis courts were replaced with swimming pools, and a 1,500-foot C-shaped wall ringed a portion of the property. Currently, the almost 6-acre estate contains around 9,000 square feet of living space with tile and hardwood flooring, arched entrances, and intricately carved vaulted ceilings. Among the notable features are Nixon's office with an ocean view, the entertainer's pavilion, and the master suite with an extended bathroom and closet. Since then, the previous tennis court has been replaced with a more modern one. Lyndon B. Johnson. 50 miles west of Austin in the Texas Hill Country is the Lyndon B. Johnson National Historical Park. The park preserves the birthplace, ranch home, and ultimate resting place of the 36th President of the United States. Since Johnson spent around 20% of his time there while in office, the LBJ Ranch was known as the Texas White House throughout his administration. On the north bank of the Pedernales River in Gillespie County, about 14 miles west of Johnson City, is where you'll find the LBJ Ranch neighborhood. The property was the family's hideaway during Johnson's presidency. This location displayed a rear view of the farmhouse that served as President Johnson's birthplace. The president used to arrive at the Texas branch on Air Force One.